Right.
State communication equipment to include streaming services and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person and through the Zoom meeting platform, being broadcast from Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation for this meeting on February 5th, 2025 is available by call-in phone number or through Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until the time for questions or comments, which will be announced. At that time, the public has the opportunity to question or comment by phone or through Zoom by the raise hand button and will be called on at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and the Star Ledger on January 31st, 2025, posted on the Borough website, the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. With adequate notice having been given, the Shade Tree Commission Secretary is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Roll call, Crystal?
Leah Begani.
Here.
Peter DeGotti.
Here.
Mike D'Angelo, absent. Mike Coe, absent. Chris Larson,
Here.
Chris McCabe. I see you there, Chris.
There.
No, he's
Where'd he go?
here. He was just here. Okay, Jill Sullivan,
Here.
Bonnie Tercivia,
Here.
Councilman LaBarbera is absent. Present is Borough Secretary Christy Larson. You have a quorum.
All right. Everybody rise, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the prior meeting minutes. Did everybody have a chance to peruse them? Any questions or comments?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I make that motion.
All right. Seconded and everything. Minutes approved. All right, we're gonna get right into it. Project updates, the Community Forestry Management Plan and Green Communities Grant. The grant for the management plan has been submitted. And we are just awaiting official word on the award. It's my understanding that looks pretty good and most likely that we'll get it. But we just can't act on it until it's official.
Okay.
So we're waiting a award letter soon. And I want to special thanks to Bonnie and Deputy Clerk Larson for helping out with that grant and getting it all done together. Greatly appreciated. Moving on.
Awesome. Welcome.
Did you play a role in this?
No.
Editing? No? I mean,
That was
you edited
after.
something, or something else, okay.
That's for the.
You can't, you just can't keep, you gotta get it on. You just, you can't.
Was that the thing that I just
Yeah.
said like a half an hour ago?
I know, I got it at 7, and I was like, oh, I quickly read this, yeah.
So we're, we should be in good shape again, once, everything's in place, I'll reach back out to, Mr. Brash and, we'll purchase order cut and we'll be able to, hit
Does
the ground
he-
rolling.
Does he know, is he holding a spot for us?
I don't think, well, I don't know if he's not. holding
Just
a
saying,
spot
'cause
for
everybody's
us.
doing it, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him tomorrow. Just say hello, remind him. Christy, would that be is that all right to do? I don't wanna,
Well, you said you were recommending, I forgot the last.
I mean, we
person.
recommended, we are gonna go with him, so we're just waiting for payment. Either way, I guess at the end of the day,
You've had a
we're
few
going with it.
correspondence with him as
And-
far
yes.
as.
And you told him he was our choice?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh, we
Okay.
definitely told him we were moving
Okay.
forward.
He
Yeah.
said he was anxiously awaiting the inventory data to start looking into it, but again, we can't really send it
Oh,
until.
until,
You don't want
You
to,
want
you
better.
don't want to do that because, yeah,
Get picked off and that's the end of it, right?
well, it just doesn't count.
Right, yeah, extra work for nothing. So that's the update. So
That's
we're,
awesome.
we're just in a holding pattern. I'm hopeful by next meeting we'll have something to act on. Be good.
That's great. Congratulations.
who's Chris?
All right, Spring resident tree buying program?
Yeah, so, nothing really super concrete. I corresponded with Tanya. We will go on the same schedule as last year, so targeting a March ordering timeframe. That will get them the orders by the end of March, and then they would plan to plant again in May. Wrapped up in this, which we have alluded to and talked about a little bit, is expanding the possibility of doing memorial plantings along the Third Street Trail,
Mhm.
which they are okay with. So I think that we need to kind of flesh that out a little bit more. But also within that conversation, there is the possibility that we could start a true like memorial tree program, which they are open to, which would be separate from the resident tree buying program. Completely. Bonnie and I spoke about this a little bit on some ideas of kind of identifying locations in the town that could support a tree and kind of making that available, like that could be a way that we would actually present it to residents, like, you know, these are the areas where trees, you know, you can choose to plant a tree. These are the possibilities within that area of the type of tree that would be planted. So that's one proposal that we would think about, which I'll discuss further with Fernbrook. But then I think that the biggest question that we have to answer, or one of the biggest questions we have to answer, is how we are going to offer a recognition of this tree. Like, is it a plaque? Like that aspect of it, I think really needs some thought, because, you know, there's a cost associated with it. Obviously, that's something that would have to go before council for approvals, and for putting a label and a plaque on something. This, you know, in theory, is going to be on public property. Who is going to be responsible for the maintenance of the tree in the first year and beyond? So these are all kind of things that we need to flesh out. So, you know, I'm going to talk to them about if they've done this with other towns. And then get some of their recommendations and thoughts, and then we could kind of develop that into like a sister program of the resident tree buying program. I mean, obviously, we would want to start this small and have a much more formulated action plan before we brought it before council. But I think it's a great opportunity to kind of put more trees in the ground, and it's something that residents have been asking for, so.
Sure, absolutely. So it would be in a different planting schedule or purchase and planting schedule?
Yes, I think it would be. I think it would be, I mean, not necessarily a different time of year. It just wouldn't be planting it on the same day as the resident tree buying program, because that's like different.
Right.
You know, that's on private property and stuff like that. So these would require, you know, I think we would have to get all the locations approved,
Mhm.
you know, and then whatever that, you know, whatever that means, you know, the markouts and stuff, of course, would be done by Fernbrook, but kind of like reserving these spots or locations, and maybe, and that could evolve. I
Mhm.
mean, in my mind, maybe, you know, in 2025, we offer 10 spots or something like that, and see how it goes, and then, you know, and I would picture us doing this once a year to like kind of get it going, but, you know, if anybody has any ideas or suggestions and you want to throw them in the ring, like, I would say just individually email me, not the whole group.
But you know what, I was just thinking, the Brian Mallon and the Manasquan, you know, the Shore
Yeah,
Shade Tree meeting is on the 18th, February 18th. I don't know, I mean, they're the ones that started the resident tree buying, so I wonder if they have anything. I was gonna go, everybody's welcome to go. But I can ask if anybody else has done something
well,
like
I
this.
could call Brian and ask him
Yeah.
that too. I don't think I'm gonna be able to go to that, but,
Okay.
yeah, no, I mean, when you're there, Bonnie, if like
Yeah.
there's more people, I
There are a
mean,
bunch of
you know,
towns, yeah.
Fernbrook's, they're moving their offices right now, so they're kind of
Right.
like,
Right.
she's like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'll call you when I'm ready. Um. Anyway, that's kind of the next evolution of the relationship that we could possibly have with Fernbrook. They've been good partners to us so far, and not only us, but, you know, other community groups within Fairhaven. So, I can't see why this wouldn't be something worth trying.
Sure.
Mhm.
No, it's a great idea. That's a great idea. So they've done a few, right? Few memorial trees, people bought
Yes.
some, right? Have they taken it upon themselves to water them and at this time?
Well,
Like,
they have because it's on the Third Street
Yeah.
Trail.
Right.
Well, I mean, in theory,
Yeah.
either they have or, you know, the Bonnie.
the
Bonnie
body,
Mark.
the body water truck?
Michelle, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, the, Garden Club of Fairhaven, last year, the president watered it all the time and was one of the members who passed away. So she was very diligent, took care of the tree and it's doing very well.
I think that there's something, I think that, you know, somebody that is taking that step to plant a tree in memory or in memorial.
Sure.
Or has a vested interest in caring for
Yeah,
it.
I agree.
So, you know,
Yeah.
it's just a question of making that. How can we make that easy to do, you know, or
Right.
help or aid them in doing that,
Right,
like, you know,
right.
dragging gallons of water down the street isn't awesome.
No.
So,
Right.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine.
It
so
is.
that's something to think about.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea. I wonder if there's any opportunity for, you know, you involve kids and I know there's probably a whole other level of, could be liability, but I mean, could kids, obviously kids can water trees, that's easy, but once it becomes a public thing, could there be a volunteer aspect of it? Christie, I was just thinking about it like what Liam does, right? He signed up for
Oh, be a good
like
neighbor to
shoveling,
Oh.
you know, elderly
Oh,
people,
wow.
like, so,
Mm.
I wonder if there could be some kind of plan like that, you
Oh,
know?
would be a good neighbor over the summer.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Before we go to the beach, gotta go water these trees.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just somewhere.
Well, getting somebody that lives close to where the tree is planting.
Sure,
is-
that'd be-
Is, I mean.
Or even
since-
just even someone close to where the tree is planted saying that you could go ahead and use my hose,
Exactly.
Yeah.
you know, is,
Huge.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
why is it? So anyway, that's what's going on there. So I would assume by March, when we're here again, like we will have our list of trees and be ready to launch the spring program.
Okay.
And we'll have more information though.
Good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jill. Moving on, green team, national area update.
Okay, the natural area is continuing to work on the northwest corner. Just signed another order with Weeds Inc. They're gonna come back and do some spot treatment for if they see any big problem weeds coming back, and they're gonna overseed areas that they seeded last fall. So we'll see how this comes back. But we did plant those other evergreens in there. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the church property. I mean, it's kind of like this. I don't know if anybody knows what she did this property and as a affordable housing overlay, and I don't know what's gonna happen there, so. It's the next door neighbor. And they are considering maybe, they've discussed putting the Third Street Trail under that umbrella. Because right now, we are the orphan child,
Oh, one umbrella.
the natural area,
Oh, okay.
just taking over.
Sure.
They're- Yeah, I mean, they're different, right? They're different, you know, one is really well-traveled bikes and everything else, and
Mhm.
has trees, and I don't know, there's just a little bit of debate between some members, if it's actually a natural area, but I think it makes more sense than having the rec is, I think, it's fallen through the cracks, nobody really has paid any attention to it, so, I'm hoping that the natural area decides to, take it over. We are trying to arrange speaking of Third Street Trail, a volunteer cleanup on March 3rd, second, that's a Sunday. Just to do some line pulling and, you know,
Okay.
I think Mark is gonna go to the EC to get that approved. The green team, we are thinking that Lovely Live Day is going to be April 27th. That's the Sunday ending Earth Week. It's on the calendar for May 3rd, but we were thinking about moving it up. And considering having it on Willow Street where the farmer's market is. And then having a car park next door to, and the kids at Sickles will be fluffing up the garden that we planted last year, so hopefully we can have that as a little display for them to show off. And maybe do some displays in McCarter Park. I don't know what's gonna be happening in the playground then, but I know that grant was just submitted for the new playground.
Yeah.
And the green team is going to have the sports swap again, sometime in April. They work with RFH and Rumson, so they haven't gotten a date set, but so save your old sports equipment.
Mm.
So, and you can bring it and drop it off and swap. Hopefully, we're gonna hope to get the Sustainable Action New Jersey action points with that, because it's kind of an innovative little project that we do, the sports swap. Hopefully we can do that. And speaking of that, Christy has been working hard. We have gotten the EC it's really pretty much been the green team doing all the work on Sustainable Jersey, but the EC has really taken up the cause this year. Sean Bailey asked everybody to take action, so hopefully we will get to, we have to have 150 points by February 23rd, which I think should be fine. Then we have another cutoff in May, and I mean, I think we'll definitely get to silver recertification again, but EC would like to go for gold, which is, there's only 6 municipalities in the state that are gold. There are 63 that are silver like us, and then there are 468 that participate in Central Jersey. So,
Who were some of the goals?
you know what? I don't have that. It's There's nobody
I was just
really-
curious.
yeah, there's nobody around here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Princeton. You know what? I should have that list, but I'll find out.
No.
But, so anyway, we're working on that. Hopefully we'll get a lot of tree points, because there are a lot of tree points out there. Right, I
I
mean,
submitted 20 points today.
good, yay, Christy, look at that.
Done.
And that's for which actions?
Energy efficiency, we track all the utility usage in all of the town's buildings. And we put it in a system, or I do.
Oh.
I basically just take the bills, put them in a system, and it calculates how efficient you are, which is kind of like interesting right now, since a couple of the buildings are being redone.
Yeah.
So we can compare after the fact. So
Good,
you get 20 points for that, for
good.
maintaining that database of
Yeah.
energy usage.
The thing about Sustainable Jersey is there's a lot of things that we already do. It's just that nobody's really tracked it, or, so it kind of gets you on, like, your town better because you're tracking all these things and you're thinking about opportunities to be more sustainable. Like I know Sean is gonna look at the fleet of cars, and it's like, well, we eventually, I mean, every time I see a policeman sitting there just waiting for someone to speed or be on their phone, and they're burning gas. So if those were just electrified, the ones that are sitting there that don't have to get chased or whatever, think of all the fumes that wouldn't be spewing out. And so there's things like that. So let's see, so I told you the Shore Area HB Committee meeting is on the 18th, that's a Tuesday at 6 o'clock at Manasquan Borough Hall on the 2nd floor. Everybody's welcome. I'm planning on going, and I reached out to my friend in Little Silver, and the 2 people on the Little Silver sheet who are gonna join us. It's a lot of short towns. Atlantic Highlands is in it right now, but they'd love to get everybody involved. And I think they'll be interested to hear how Little Silver's tree ordinance is working. So I think that's my reports. I mean, I added on the short tree.
What's that?
I added on the shore area shade tree to my reports.
Sorry, good plug. We're good?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Bonnie. moving on to community outreach. Yeah,
Yes, so, to, start, I met with the green team at Knollwood, and the kids were so cute, they were lovely. I talked about, our initiatives as an organization and why it's important to have community outreach and social media. And, the kids were adorable, they made posters for us to put around town, I laminated them. And I have one more, I'm gonna post it on social, but I have one more that this kid made digitally and it was really good, so I don't wanna leave his out, so I will get that as soon as I can, and then Cassie Conley and I are gonna go around town and ask local places to put them up.
okay. Nice.
And we got some more followers from that, we're up to 215, y'all.
Nice, nice, blew through that 200, it was a while to get to that 200, now we're
It
back,
was like,
nice.
yeah, anyways, so that was good. I was like, kids, some of you were 13. You're on Instagram.
Yeah,
And then some of their parents started following us, which I appreciated. And then, I know this goes under Arbor Day, but Mike's not here. I said I would reach out to the art teacher at Knollwood about asking him, because we didn't have a lot of engagement for the Arbor Day poster contest last year, but I spoke with the art teacher at Knollwood, and he said he will try to incorporate it into the art classes
Yeah.
so that they could do it then, and also the art club. And then he suggested for prizes, I know Mike's not here, but I can email him, suggested maybe some restaurants, because the kids are always talking about food as one of the prizes. So hopefully we'll get a little more from that, if they're gonna dedicate art time to making posters.
sure. That's good.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have. I don't believe I do. I think that's it.
All right, sounds good. Does Krausers give out gift cards? No, that'd be a big hit. I don't know.
The kids like to buy the prime.
Oh, yeah, the prime, the drink.
Prime, goodness
And,
gracious.
and the chicken, fried chicken. I don't know if they're joking about the fried chicken, but have you heard of this?
I've never heard of the fried
It's gonna get
chicken.
off topic, but yeah, it's supposedly it's really great.
Once they start driving, they leave there.
They can get away from crowd. We don't need to ride our bikes anymore. We're going on. All right, I guess they move on to French Market or something. All right, moving on to the Resident Education and Awareness Program. So, I have done a little bit of work on this and I need to do more. I did find out that the signs themselves are probably gonna run about $15 a piece. I'm thinking of those little, lawn signs that you see everywhere. I did a little bit of research. I was starting to try to think about what information would be pertinent and I don't want something that's just gonna overwhelm anybody as they try to narrow it down to like maybe 5 or at most 10 good bullet points. It wouldn't be tree specific, but just in general, I was thinking like, we could find out information. And there is some out there, I did stumble across quite a bit about, the size of trees and how much, whatever a 30-foot tree would, how much carbon it would capture, or how much a 20-foot tree, how much, stormwater that could potentially capture. So things like that. But I was just trying to get an idea of cost and how much, I wasn't thinking of like a entire town rollout all at once, but I was thinking maybe, I thought maybe 200 signs, but even then I thought maybe that was a lot.
lot.
Yeah, once you started, it was like, that's actually a lot. So maybe I think 100 would be a nice comfortable place to start to see if it's makes sense and it works. And we want to make sure we don't end up with a whole bunch of signs just sitting in up in the hallway or in somebody's garage.
I mean, I don't wanna,
do what I do and just throw things out there.
And they get constructed.
Speak
Um,
carefully.
Yeah,
And what if this idea of like the signs as an education program was almost approached like a scavenger hunt? Where you would start at a sign and it would give you some tree facts and like it would like lead you somewhere else where you would like then find the additional sign and like kind of learn something there. And it kind of like brought you around town to like maybe different important locations with trees. Which then, of course, then you're not doing 100, you're probably doing 20. maybe.
right.
But it would kind of it would encourage people to kind of like seek out the information
Mhm.
and bring them through town. I don't know,
Like a tree tour through town. like
Yeah,
put it-
tree
yeah,
hunt.
Put it,
a tree hunt, yeah, or something like that. I mean, that could almost be tied in with Arbor Day.
Mhm.
yeah,
And would be, like I said, like you're really talking about a handful of signs at that point in time. And
Right.
then you could kind of like, I mean, and if that's well received, you could switch it up. I mean, and then do another scavenger hunt of trees
Mhm.
through town or a tree hunt or something like that. I mean,
Yeah. Could be fun, I
yeah,
think.
I mean,
One of the things I want to do, or I mean, we all want to do it, is make sure that people, this always came up that, we were always concerned about people, who move into Fairhaven and might not initially appreciate trees, right?
Yeah.
We worry about that, renovations or new constructions that, they're just not even, it doesn't even cross their mind, maybe. So what I also wanted to do, I like that idea because I think it would make people, be able to engage people to
right,
wander the town and check out all the trees. But also I wanted enough coverage where people who might be just driving through, case in the area for a new home, we plant that seed, we want to make sure we plant that seed in their head that, you're considering a town that holds trees in high regard. So, when and if they do move in, that they're gonna like
so
maybe
maybe,
think about it a little
if
bit.
you, anybody that has somebody for
So-
sale on.
Yeah, there you go, that's good. Yeah. Going to a realtor.
I would like to point
Information.
That when I show houses, I talk a lot about trees,
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
especially in town.
but I think
That-
that if all realtors did that, it would be huge.
Right.
I don't know that all of them
Yeah.
do.
Well, that was one of the things that I was thinking about, would be good information, and I don't know if you have something readily available, but is there something that shows, neighborhoods with a lot of trees,
Oh,
their
like
home
the
values
values and
are
stuff. I don't have.
5%, 10% more than.
They do have ad inherent value.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's monetized or if it's monetized. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can ask, an appraiser I know and see if she has any thoughts in terms of like, if they, if they have, they have measurements for all kinds of things, so.
Did you say add inherent value? That's a,
Like, I think it adds, yeah, I think neighborhoods add like, if you go into a cookie cutter neighborhood with no trees and you have the same exact neighborhood with trees, like,
Sure.
yeah,
it's gonna be like River Oaks, you're like, oh, I want to be big oak trees.
yeah.
So even if people aren't necessarily, like, it feels different, it just feels different. So, and also it takes forever to grow the trees. That's what I say to my clients when I'm showing them a house and there are these giant gorgeous trees. And I'm like, you can't buy this, like, you can't replace this, like,
Sure.
this has been here for 150 years, like,
Yeah.
you're so lucky. Buy this house.
Don't cut it down.
Don't cut it down.
Don't even think about it.
They asked me, he was like, do you think I can cut this out? And I was like, no,
Oh, no.
I'm
No,
unashamed.
sorry, this house just sold amazing.
But Leah, I think,
Give Bonnie their address as soon as they ask that question.
Leah, you put the words to something that I was thinking, which is that it is a feeling, right? It's something that folks don't necessarily recognize as, oh, well, there's a lot of trees here, or there's a lot of old trees here. It's just, it feels nice. So somehow pointing it out that that's what you're feeling. It's part of what you're feeling, right? Is, could be valuable for sure. I love that idea.
Betty Ann, like a little tree fact, I mean, she's always, I was just in there, talking to her about something, and she said, you know, anything you want me to put in that, the buzz, I mean, like a tree fat,
Sure.
like little educational, like.
Mm,
It's just
The-
crowded, like, to be
it's-
honest, the
it's
buzz is
crowded.
crowded with,
We think there's too much, yeah,
there's too much,
people don't
yeah,
want-
I mean, like,
tree quotes,
I don't know, that's just my opinion, like, you just scan it
Okay.
really
Yeah.
quick for like, I mean,
mm,
like a date, like, all that other stuff is just, I don't know, a lot, there's a lot in there.
I have a
a lot
question.
of recruit stuff.
I don't know if I'm jumping topics here, but it just occurred to me, when's the next Fairhaven Farmers Market? Do you think we could
May
set up a
10th.
table, May 10th?
Thanks.
It would be nice if we had people would probably buy trees for the resident tree buying program, because they go from
That's a good
table to
idea.
table. And they go, oh, what's this? Oh,
Yeah,
maybe we
that's
should do
true,
that.
that could definitely be something for the fall program, it won't be here in time. for
Yeah,
spring.
that's the problem.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be
that's a
too
good
late.
idea,
But, maybe if we had a table there.
yeah, that's a great
Everyone's
idea,
tomorrow.
yeah, I love it.
And the farmer's market, yeah, they go all through summer, right? We're doing that.
Yeah, and into the
So-
fall.
So find out when the
There'll
last
be-
one is and see if it,
Or when,
or when, yeah,
Say it again?
when would the date be, when is usually the date for ordering in the fall,
It's August, I think.
or August? okay.
Yeah.
like the
So
July. market.
Yeah.
whatever the, weekend is that they're there in August, that would be the appropriate time to do it.
I mean, even though it's the summer and usually people are like piecing out to the beach, the farmer's market's busy every
Mm.
time.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, is that still just? What, one Saturday a month?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just. Some sour.
did I just hear that right? That we're talking about possibly advertising the tree buying program during the farmer's market?
Sure, yeah.
Is that right? Yeah,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah, but not the upcoming
not the spring
tree
one,
buying, right, the
Yeah.
fall one.
Yeah.
okay.
So, which leads us, we're gonna skip over Arbor Day. And go right to the calendar update, and we can put that on the calendar.
It's going in.
Nice.
Um,
Oh, we won't have a July meeting, so we'll have to remember that too. So,
Oh, yeah.
what was that, Chris?
we won't have a July meeting, so we'll have to be,
So put it on
we'll
the
have to bring it
June.
up in the June meeting to.
A little hit, okay,
Have the,
Yeah,
good.
do we have it in the, should we have it at the July market or the August market? Which
it will
one?
have to be the August one because we won't have the trees that are available in
Mm.
July.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
it's really fine, like it would only have to be 1 month that we offer it essentially.
yeah.
And so whenever it is in August, like we could be prepared for that.
We could have a
So-
nice write-up on each of the trees and
Yeah.
explain why it's so wonderful.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, that's in the little packet.
Yeah, but we want it. I'll do it.
Okay, perfect.
right.
I'm
Well,
good.
I will note that in the August, in August. So for January, I had put notices out about resident tree buying program. I know that's still in the works, Jill, so I don't think we're quite ready to blast that out to people, right?
No, we'll be ready by March because
Yeah.
trees we'll know what they are by March. And
Yeah.
that's when we'll buy, yeah.
Okay, so that's probably just shouldn't be in January. Maybe that was a miss on my part.
No, I think we put it in there to start talking about, maybe to remind me that I needed. I think it's good.
February, we had for February pick location for tree planting on Arbor Day. So I think we just wanted to get ahead of it. This year, Arbor Day is Friday, April 25th. So we clearly have time on that, but that was something we had asked our future selves to remember this year. So I don't, maybe we put that on the March agenda.
Well, come prepare with some locations. For March, is that what we want? Yeah.
Can I
Sure.
offer a
Yeah.
suggestion? So I actually was attending the rec committee meeting yesterday, Tuesday. Because there was a Eagle Scout presenting for the Third Street Trail and they had to go before them. And so I asked them if they ever planted trees, if that was ever part of their program, I always thought of them as being in charge of Fairhaven Fields and that maybe they did that. I think I had asked Teresa before if we could plant trees and she was like, no. But it is us that would decide to plant trees at Fairhaven Fields,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So every time I walk by that new cage that is around the sprinkler system. So ugly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we talked
Kind
about
of
Yeah,
an
yeah.
awkward spot. I don't
And
know
it's-
how that came to be. Yeah.
It was easy, nobody thought that, yeah. So I was thinking, if you could put, there's that beautiful row of very old, beautiful pines. But if you put some evergreens, something around that, and then on the screen by the tennis courts, like as you're walking south, you know, so you go around that ugly box and then you go around a loop but you can still see the tennis courts. I just thought some screening there, some pines, something. That would be a spot I think would be great.
It'd be nice. I think, and I'm sure this is probably one of the reasons why it got plopped where it did, but I'm sure like you need access to it. Right,
Right,
so,
right.
um,
Right, there's a
But-
door, but
yeah.
I don't know that you need to look at it. There also
No,
would
but-
be lines running into it, all the sprinkler lines that you would have to take
Yeah.
into
Oh, right.
consideration. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the source, so it might be not perfect. The other thing is, you know, this elderly woman came up to me on Thirsty Trail and she was saying how sad it was that those trees that got, the great big ones along
Yeah.
the trail, that all got taken out, I mean, big ones. I think it was because of Sandy or some storm, I don't know. But she said, are they ever gonna plant trees there? I used to love to sit under that tree on a bench. And I think
they're
that,
just huge stumps and
They're huge
massive root
stumps,
systems there.
right.
Yeah,
and trees even kind of like to grow on near other trees, like I've had trees grow out of stumps. That's another place that I think would be great. I mean, that
Yeah, good
path,
idea.
I mean, I'm sure people walking around it would appreciate some shade.
Mhm.
Um,
So we can, hey, look, we can come up with the ideas and, I mean, obviously those spots we gotta get approvals for, but I think they're good. Good idea.
who do we get approved from?
Well, town, yes, right? I mean, Parks and Rec would get involved,
No.
Christie, no?
According to them, no. That's why I asked them. I thought that they had jurisdiction over Fairhaven Fields. They were kind of like, no, you guys
But
can
it's-
do.
Well, we can't just.
No,
There's
but-
gotta be somebody who's gonna weigh in on this one.
Yes, they would weigh in. I would
Right,
think,
but-
you know, DPW and obviously, yeah, Christie Ricken.
Yeah.
Who's gonna, yeah, all the, like I said, the sprinkler lines and things like that. But
If
that
we
would
come up
be,
with a plan to plant, whatever number of trees there, and then we can. Christie pass it
The
along to
past
town, pass it
procedure
around to
has
Chris, I
been
could,
to write a memo to
I
council.
could pass it over
And
to
it gets
Chris if
delivered
you
to
want.
council, and the liaison would typically deliver your message.
and ask if that location was okay.
Well, we usually presume, in the past, it's, like, for example, we just did the two at,
At McCart.
McCarter and Community Center. That memo was drafted and sent that with the map and the markouts and whatever, and it was discussed at council. I don't know, discussed, but it was, this is what it is, and on what sign. You can't just, but there has to be a courtesy of
Right,
notice, I
right.
guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And I would assume if Nick or Chrissy or anyone in
Yeah.
the jurisdiction had issues, I think it's also a maintenance thing, so who's gonna take care of the trees?
Right,
I was
well,
gonna say that way,
based on-
figure that.
the fact that we planted 20 of these evergreens by the cell tower in December. And it has rained, it has been perfect. It is, I think November, December is the time to plant trees because it's the storms and it's gets them a head start.
Mhm.
Planted them in May, unless they're in someone's yard and they're gonna stand up there and water it.
Yeah.
It just,
Right,
it's a
risky.
much better, time to plant. So if we were gonna do a big planting, I think we should do it in the fall. I mean, maybe do some for Arbor Day, but
Mhm.
then maybe do a bigger planting, when it's better.
Yeah.
Conditions for,
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
'Cause I think also, I remember you brought it up, and maybe we talked about it when we were over there with the one tree in community center, a couple of those trees. That path that's along the.
Hmm.
Basically, it's the third baseline of that one field. I mean, it's just, that's one of those
Mhm.
areas that's just baked in the sun,
Mhm.
and I know from being there, everybody just sits there in their chairs watching games and just, just cook it.
And wouldn't they love trees? Yeah,
Sure,
that's another
Sure,
great
so I
spot.
mean, I think a handful of those, that, Christina, that would be, go through Parks and Rec first on that one?
I mean, you could have
Again.
conversations with whoever you want.
Yeah,
I-
I'm just
yeah,
wondering,
I
I
just
don't
thought-
wanna, I wanna know who the first person and like, reach out to Parks and Rec or reach out to, DJ or reach out to Chris Fiore, I guess DJ would probably be.
That might be a good spot for memorial trees because it gets so much visibility. No?
Good, sure.
And then there's that line, the trees that were taken out by the community center, like, and the question what they're gonna do behind the community center. I think they're
Yeah.
debating, that would be,
That'd be nice, I just feel like that area right now is just so.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the estimated complete date, do we know?
Couple months,
It looked like it was coming along.
there's a punch list. But, yeah.
it's too bad
That would be-
Claire's not here.
So that'll be something that we are gonna address this year as a commission, right? Is planting there?
I believe
At
there's
the
a
community center?
plan already, but.
Oh, there is, okay.
But is that, there is, at the community or at DPW?
Oh, DPW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a huge area,
I
that's,
don't know.
that's gonna
Wish
be,
you were here to-
which
Because
is.
he's very involved in that facility.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, that's his.
Yeah, I
purview
know,
there.
it's just such a shame.
Next
um,
meeting.
He might have some great ideas for you guys.
That'd be great.
Put that on the update and make sure he speaks to.
Oh,
So, and if he isn't gonna be here next meeting, maybe he could give a. say something
Little,
about it, yeah.
Email there. Um, Yeah, I think those areas are. Open.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think one of the, like the area at the Fairhaven Fields, I think we could approach maybe, the thing we're always gonna run into no matter what is it's always gonna be maintenance. It's always gonna come to water and maintenance of trees that are out there in random locations. And I think, doing kind of like a slow roll is sometimes a little better. If we want to plant like a couple early and then do bigger plantings in the fall, like you said. Cause I just think, I don't wanna get in a position where we're like leaning on DPW to the point where they're like,
I hate it.
yeah, like,
Well,
I'm
they-
not answering this call.
I mean,
Or like,
they're getting the water truck fixed according to Dave, but I said, well, could one of us? He goes, no. I go, "I'll drive
Fix the water truck? What do you?
No, I
oh,
will drive
drive
the water truck.
I want to drive the cherry
No.
picker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
There
I
you
said
go.
no,
Gotta get, probably need a
shut that down
CDL,
right quick.
not, oh,
probably need a CDL or something. But that'd be fine. New rules.
Um,
Good, Peter.
Yeah, that's okay. So the Arbor Day tree planting is one thing. I put Love Where You Live on there, so we'll have that for next time. We have the resident tree buying program for May. And then the other thing I had on was a quarterly budget check-in, which was the notion of reviewing our budget for the year and then checking in on where we are in spending so that we don't end up at the end of the year. Obviously, we're at the beginning of the year, but so that we're kind of keeping pace with our spend. We know where we're spending versus our budget. So so maybe that would be a good thing to put in for maybe March or April, something like that.
Well,
do we have a budget?
yeah, I was just gonna ask Christie,
Yeah.
what is the status of the town budget? Did it get passed yet? No, never does.
Usually April.
April, okay. So we're gonna be
We're
on,
working off a temp budget, so for example, like D'Angelo wants to take the core training, so that's gonna be charged to a temporary budget.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean you can't do stuff, you just have to.
So we're in like May.
get credit approvals and everything like that, okay.
And do we know what we have?
No, I mean, our cap was, what, 2% above the prior year, so I
Mm-hmm.
maxed it out.
Yeah.
It was 2%, plus
So,
we also put in.
Thank you,
for
Chris. Thank you.
the, yeah, we really, we
So
can
we-
squeeze a couple extra bucks out and we
so
will.
what do we totally have, we have the community pill money, And
Mhm.
what is it again, the
And
total?
then 2% over what we had last year. I forget the exact numbers.
What do you?
And then we, as in addition, to all about the community forest management plan, put them on alert that we're gonna probably need more money if we don't get certain grants and things like that.
Right, but we're hoping
But
that
it
we get
looks
the
like our
5,000
budget-
and that Bill Brash charged 5,000 and.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll keep that out there. And then I won't go through, we can kind of move through the year as we move along. So that's all I have.
Sounds good. Thank you, Peter.
The balance in your, trust fund is about 5,800.
Nice.
Because you didn't use any last year because the plantings that you did around public land, so you were able to use your shade tree planting budget,
Budget,
operate out of your
okay.
operating budget.
Okay.
Cool.
So anything that if
Yeah.
we wanted to do like an Arbor Day planning or
So explain that to me, if we plant in Fairhaven Fields, is that public, so that
We-
comes out of a
well,
different than the community appeal?
Like when you donated or planted the tree on, was that Lake Avenue or when you
Yes,
guys
that
were-
came out.
Yeah,
Private
that-
property has to be trust fund,
Trust
because it
fund.
can't be taxpayer
Right.
money,
Private land.
But again, if we're doing it at a park or a community center, is that
that's
Public.
what, that's,
public.
so that,
So it would come out of our planting.
We just don't know what
line
that
item,
planting
and we
budget
don't
is yet.
know what that will be.
and we
Okay.
can't use that until it's approved,
No, you
but we can
you
use it.
can, like last year you guys bought the Christmas tree before
All right,
it was official budget. They just kind of like work with it on a daily basis.
confusing.
A lot of laws around the money.
No.
But that's a good thing. All right, moving on, tree removal permit data.
Oh.
We racking these permits up yet?
Not really, there's only 6
Slow.
so far this year.
Okay.
Usually.
Permits or payments?
Permits.
Permits
Oh, I
issued?
like when it's just so little. I'm just gonna enjoy this.
4 of them are hazard.
Oh,
4 of them are hazard.
Norway, that's 2 hollies.
Holly
That's
tree-
the
holly trees
nativity
to
church.
remain.
That's what church?
Nativity.
Why'd they take all that down? They were what were they? Is it, does reason, holly trees to remain remove 5 maples, what was the reason?
What, oh, I don't know what I knew. What did he say? Well, I'm not gonna use the proper terminology, it was something like they were dead, like they were misplanted, so they grew out of this, they were like planted in the wrong place or something, so they didn't last and they had to come out. Something
Or is it
like
the
that.
border?
They put in a
between-
request for something for the resident tree
Really?
by
Yeah.
program. It was like, they
Yes.
want oak trees or something like
Yes,
that
that's
available
right.
so that they could, because they knew that
Replace
they were gonna
them.
have to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a
Did-
plan.
Did they get the trees or no, they're gonna do it?
No,
next
they were
time?
gonna do it, I mean, this was a
Okay.
request when we didn't have the program.
Was this
open.
Kathleen? Yeah.
Kathy?
I don't know,
Hendricks?
you
Hendricks.
forwarded me the
Yeah.
request, right?
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's on their radar. They'll wind up with.
They like trees, they're good people.
Mhm.
Hazard. Construction, Norway maple, okay.
Christy, can I ask the question that we were discussing about the topping? Did you ever find anything?
I didn't find anything in there about topping, no. I didn't find anything about pruning.
Because there was somebody around the corner from me that had their landscaper chopping off the top of the trees of these Leland cypress. So the cypress is going up and somebody, I found out, so I walked over because it was my neighbor and And I think she was horrified that he had decided, he said he was gonna trim them, and what he did was just chop the top off these trees. And I said to him, he didn't speak English, so I did talk about this, I said, you're not allowed to top trees, like that's not trimming a tree. And I thought I remembered that was in our ordinance, it usually is in a tree ordinance that you can't top a tree off. And Chrissy didn't think it was, and I'm sorry, I was scrambling all day, but I wanted to check, but I feel like that should be. I mean, I had a very nice conversation with the owner of the house.
Mhm.
And she said, I really didn't know that, I'm sorry, and I did point out a huge tree in her, I said, is that your tree? And she said, oh, it's my neighbor's, but I know it's really, really special and big, and I said, okay, good. And I just kind of said, I'm from the shade tree, I'm not the tree police, but I'm just concerned about this, it's really not a good way to treat the tree, to top it off, and I'm really trying to promote appreciation of trees, and I really had a nice conversation with her.
Yeah.
And, you know, she thanked me for coming over, but I said, you know, when you have to know that if it's 6 inches or bigger, you've got to get a permit to do something, but I don't know about the tapping, I mean, chopping half of the tree down.
Was it that? I mean,
It was,
cut
it
in
was
half?
unbelievable, like, I mean, at this big, I mean, this is about how big, and just at 6 foot, like, whack. But of course, because it was a cypress, the branches
Yeah.
were kind of coming out, so they
Right.
covered it a little bit. And it was because of her pool, so I think the landscaper thought they were doing a favor by chopping, but if I was the neighbor, I would have been horrified that all the trees all of a sudden were,
Cut in half, yeah.
yeah. So it's, do you know topping, am I saying the wrong?
No, you're
Is-
saying- you're
yeah,
saying it right.
Sounds
But
right.
don't you
Yeah.
think it was
But
in
I
our
didn't-
ordinance?
Cause I mean, what's the difference between, I mean, we're talking about Leyland cypress now, I don't. I mean, I know they're fairly hardy and they grow pretty darn
It wasn't
quick,
bad, it was some other kind, but it was
Oh,
like a lawsuit or something, I don't know.
but. Wouldn't that be considered maintenance?
No,
I haven't seen it, so I don't know, like, I mean, yeah, oh, there we go,
Nope, we're about
goes
to see it.
videotape,
that's a good idea, type.
yeah.
I mean, I just don't know if you could see that clearly,
If you email it to me, I can put it on the screen.
oh, okay. Let's find a good picture. Anyway, I just thought it was worth.
I'm fairly certain there are some evergreens you're not supposed to just top because they have that leader that kind of forms that conical shape. But I'm really speaking out of
Yeah, I thought like.
out of my depth.
arborvitae's, you're not supposed to top those, right? Or,
Okay, so see, here's the tree.
Oh, yeah.
So they just cut off the main later. I'll just, so see, they just chop, so that's what it looks like now,
oh,
right? Would you want to see that? And that's what they all, there's a whole row of them.
yeah.
That's
They
really
look kinda
weird.
straggly, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, so these are the branches grow from the bottom
Right,
up.
yeah.
So, but then there's a leader just sticking up, but,
Yeah,
I mean, so it's a shrub instead of a
tree,
tree.
thicker now.
But how is
Yeah.
that supposed to?
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I think
think that's
it's-
the only reason why people do that kind of stuff, right? Isn't that why you do it?
I don't know why you would do it. I would never do it to a
It-
tree.
It says it encourages faster lateral growth with a candelabra shape with multiple tops. So they might be trying to spread it versus have it grow higher.
Yeah,
Where did
because
you
it
read
looks like
that?
it's they're trying to make a
Google.
hedge out of it, like a real thick
Um,
hedge.
Google.
Topping.
Google.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, well, this is just me.
Bonnie's on the case.
No, I just thought it was,
I mean, it seems excessive, but I don't know
You just don't know what it's.
how much, no, I like how much we're gonna be involved in tree topping or Leyland cypress topping.
Well, technically, in the ordinance, you're not supposed to do anything to like harm the tree. So, you know, I guess a tree expert would be able to tell us if that would be harmful to the tree.
text Sherry and say,
Yeah.
what do you think of this?
So what do you think it is for?
Is this acceptable?
And then if we find that it is, you know, dangerous for the tree, we can kind of add topping to the list of the things that you could do to damage the tree in the new ordinance.
Sorry.
Moving on to the tree ordinance. We were talking about the appendix A review last time. We're talking about the, linking it to the website, not linking it to the website. And my apologies, but Christie even reminded me today, and I was supposed to reach out to our borough attorney and talk about how much of a change that would be. And I did not, but I will email him tomorrow, to see if that's a big deal, because I think at the end of the meeting, I think we just said we're gonna get rid of the link that was in the ordinance and go with the published list of recommended trees.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking about asking this at the Shore meeting, just how they did the recommended list, and maybe they would have a suggestion or something. I haven't looked at Mass Funds list, but.
It would be good, something good to find out, somebody else,
figure it
how
out.
they're handling it, covering some, here.
Nothing.
Go ahead.
I thought that, never mind, I don't
No,
remember.
speak.
No, I don't remember, so I can't speak because I don't really remember.
I don't either, that's what I was hoping I'd get a reaction.
I
Christie,
feel
what-
like we did say that, but, I also feel like we said we were gonna put it somewhere else where the shrubs weren't included.
Mm,
And so that we wouldn't
Right.
have to actually
Change
You
that.
just
change
do
the
wanna-
list. I think we also talked about making a website, but
Yeah,
that's.
we're talking about having the link go to the Borough Shade Tree website, and
Right,
if that's a substantive change. Or
Is there a shade
removing the
tree
link entirely. Basically, the attorney has to tell us if any changes made to that appendix, you may have to start from introduction, hearing, adoption again.
so if we have to do that, we really need to know
Exactly.
what we want to
Yeah.
do.
And initially that was explained to us that we wouldn't have to do that
Yeah.
because it was our appendix.
Right.
And we could
Maybe speak to your liaison.
fluid
Yeah.
Right.
talk to
I
Drew.
do remember.
I'll talk to Drew and I'll talk to Sobel, and see how much we can. Because I think that was the confusion. It was that one of the lists was too extensive, right? It had shrubs.
Yeah,
and-
we didn't
and-
want that.
Is that the?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one that Mark and I, like the description of the
Yes.
trees in
Yeah,
town?
yeah.
So
Okay.
that,
That,
and it's a good site.
and Mark could just
But-
take those shrubs off, and then it's okay, right? He just deletes them.
Well, but then it's like, well, it's still good, as far as the
It's good
site's concerned, it's good
information, yeah.
information, so we don't wanna
Yeah.
do away with that, but if we did away with the link and left the published list and maybe took off any of the shrubs that were on that list, because I think towards the bottom of that list, they were,
Don't we have
We
a
started
page
talking
though
about-
on the Shade Tree
Borough
website?
Yes.
Yeah, like
Right.
like where,
Like a
so that
redirect.
we could update that list as necessary.
Mhm.
And it would just be changing the link as opposed to eliminating the link.
Mm.
I
You do
mean,
that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we need to find a list of just the good trees and the conditions where they should be planted, and like a very simplified, small, medium, large, under telephone wires kind of thing, and middle of the yard, and yeah. That's what we need to do.
it's almost like you could query something. But that.
But see, every town needs it, and if every town kind of around here had the same list, it'd be helpful, we could all just kind of, because we're all in the same county, it should be the same recommended tree list, right?
Well, not
I guess, I don't
necessarily,
know,
like if you're in
it's like
Seabright, you're
stuff
not gonna have the same
everywhere.
list
Yeah.
as you are in.
Yeah.
Right, right, I was thinking like Little Silver, Fairhaven,
Yeah.
Merson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think in
the
both,
peninsula,
the peninsula.
the peninsula.
Yes.
Mhm,
Special.
Peninsula trees. Oh,
No, I'm just looking online. The site online is might not be perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And it can be a living document, right? I mean, we can change it. Right. And if the concern is there are some bushes, rhododendron, sassafras, northern spice bush.
Could we just,
Um, what's that?
we just somehow clarify, like add language saying these are not included in replacement trees, but these are recommended shrubs or something.
Yeah, it's
something-
recommended
If
that
you're planting
like,
shrubs.
a shade tree, and I get it, I think it's the
Yeah.
language is in the ordinance, but like
Yeah.
you gotta always go back to it. It's like, if you're removing a shade tree, you
Okay.
have to replace it with a shade tree.
Right.
You know, and you have to replace it with, you know, size, this, that, and the other thing, so it
Yeah.
kind of by default eliminates
So
a lot
say
of
these are not for replacing shade trees, but are other recommended shrubs? or
I don't
something?
think we should, I think it should be crystal clear.
Yeah.
People don't read. Like it could be a link and we could have the same trees and then perhaps even within that document. We can have for more information, like you can link there to find out the information on this website about the tree. But it is gonna cause major confusion if this is linking to that website and there's shrubs there. And I, you know, because people don't read and they're
Yeah.
gonna think that they can replace. You know, 100-year-old oak
Yeah.
with a pretty rhododendron that's gonna flower, you know, like it's just.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't read, like.
So let's
Right.
It's
go
all
out,
good, but
change
like,
the
you know,
link
like it's just,
entirely.
yeah.
So there is a, I don't mean to
for-
cut you off, Chris.
No,
But there is, so the way the site looks now, there's a section at the bottom that says smaller / ornamental / understory trees.
Mhm.
If we could just move that, like just put a link to that, that says, you know, here are other smaller ornamental understory, you know, trees, not, you know, not replacement trees or something like that. It would just, or maybe that, I don't know, maybe there's just a different link, but we think I would hate to give up what we have because it's really pretty nice. It's very nice. There's great pictures and descriptions and things. So I'd almost, I don't know.
I don't know, maybe like even within that, and the thing is that's not a Shade Tree Commission owned website, that's like Mark's website.
Yes, right.
So,
Which,
like, you
right.
know, which is, I agree, is really, it's beautiful, but I don't know if within that, you know, if he would be willing to
Yeah.
even separate that by pages, you know, because within that thing, within his website, and I haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah.
It could have the pages at the top, like trees or shade trees, it could have shrubs. And like, those could be two separate tabs within the website itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could do that, but I still would argue that by linking somebody to that website that has all that information, it's still going to arguably like have somebody say like, oh, I could do what is here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
especially since it's not, it
Yeah.
doesn't say Fairhaven Shade Tree Commission replacement
Mhm.
trees on it, and it shouldn't, because it's not only for that.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
so it should be new link, new.
I mean, Mark made it for the
Info.
purposes of having a recommended tree list. That's what he made it for. So can we not?
What, cut it in half or something?
I mean, you could almost duplicate it.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Do
Um,
whatever you
Copy
want.
and then just
right,
get rid
and
of the
like,
last couple pages.
And then just control it. You know, we'd have more, obviously, you're a very good point, Joe. We don't control it. So if it changes and we don't see it change, then someone comes back and say, you know, I can plant this bubblegum tree. That would be a problem too. So I don't know, but does the ordinance say, I should know this, does the ordinance say you can only plant these trees, or we
No.
recommend you replace it with these? It's the latter, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
recommendation, yeah.
So I'm not sure how much risk there is there, but I kind of agree that we should probably own whatever site we point people to.
We should have a do not plant list.
Hmm.
Maybe that, we could, well, if we're going to revise our recommended list, I don't see why we couldn't just attach that. That's a good idea.
Mhm.
You know, non-natives and Good idea. All right, I'm gonna talk to our borough attorney and see how involved making additions
Hmm.
or subtractions will be
Hmm.
at this stage of the game. But like I said, we all know when we were explaining the nuance of the appendix, it was, you know, this is yours, this is, you know, make it yours.
Hmm. Yeah.
Let's see
So
how that plays
I'll
out.
remind some people of that and see it. Anything else? True ordinance, appendix? All right, and obviously that brings us to Councilman La Barbera, who is not here today. So we will move on to proposed new agenda items. Anybody?
Well, love where you live day, do we want to talk about what we want to do for a table?
Sure. We'll put that on there.
I had budget check-in from Peter.
Okay.
Landscape plans for new and renovated borough facilities.
As a new,
The PDC, police, community center, DPW. That could potentially tie into the memorial planting locations. I don't know. And the Arbor Day tree planting locations. That's what I typed.
Oh, from this meeting,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Are we gonna be, are we gonna be, that you said the police community center planning? Are we gonna be,
Councilman LaBarbera might be able to shed some light on if that could be what's planned as far as
Okay.
landscape and if
Oh, okay.
there's potentially any space for a memorial or Arbor Day planting.
Mhm.
Timing on those, completion for those.
all right? Then
You
the,
wanna touch base with him on that before the meeting, so he
yeah, I can shoot him an email, ask him, give him a heads up, this is what we'll be looking for. The table idea for where you love day,
yeah.
love where you live day.
I mean, does
Live it, love it.
anybody have any ideas of the?
Well, everybody's like a joke.
That's where we could have the scavenger hunt start for
We can start from there.
for the trees, the tree signs.
Right.
Three signs, how much signage and
well, you
everything do we
could
have
have-
from previous years? Yeah.
I mean, you
you
could
still have
even-
everything?
I have a lot of stuff, yeah. If, okay. If we advertise during Earth Week. That on Lovely Live Day, that we're hosting on Willow Street, next to McCarter Park, have the kids run around the park and find tree flags or something, or do some, like have. The tree signs, and then they would just be in the park,
Yeah, you could do something like that, like, 10 trees that they have to find facts on or whatever.
We could
Right.
also, sorry,
good,
we could also say what, like, the bigger trees capture in carbon.
yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know, because there are some monsters there,
They're
yeah.
really
which
big.
Are in danger.
You could,
Something
yeah,
like that.
I mean, you could even have somebody standing, not somebody like, I'm thinking like, a Norwood kid, green team. Like standing at each tree, maybe they'd even
Mhm.
teach younger kids about them, maybe they get stamped, they have like a passport,
Ah,
tree passport.
and there are not that many types of trees too. I don't think there's 10 different types of trees, I'm just wondering.
Well,
But
you
yeah,
have
there could be
somebody
fun
standing
facts
by the Salem oak to kind of tell its
Yeah.
story, there's hollies in there, I mean, like. I don't know, there a stump, like, that you could look at and you could kind of like estimate how old the tree was, or,
Mm.
you know, like have different leaves, how you identify a tree, by the bark, by the leaves, by like, there's a lot of things you could do, like different, it doesn't have to be different trees, it could just be different things about trees.
Yeah. That's I think doesn't that sound like fun? And then we can you can make just 10 posters of.
I have some pamphlets from way back when that we gave out with the saplings in my garage that I would willingly give up, that we can put on the table and let people take.
on different types of trees, is that,
All different trees, yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be great, Chris. Unless you want to hold on to them for a couple more years. Just-
Only been like 10 years, you know.
You sure the mice haven't eaten them?
They're new in relation to most of my stuff, so.
So that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Very cool.
And we could even, tell Mrs. Schwartz, like, I don't know, maybe she could make announcements or something at school, and it's gonna be right there, and the kids could hear about
Pretty
that.
well attended, right?
Hmm?
It's pretty well
Well,
attended. I
yeah.
didn't go last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee and I had fun on the trail.
We did.
Sitting in the ivy.
My dog was there.
It was 47, so we should probably also, I mean, obviously, we'll try to take a turn, obviously, at the booth or the table
Or on a tree.
or on a tree.
I'm gonna recruit my kids.
So Christy, didn't you do a sign up sheet?
Yeah,
Sign
we
up
can do
genius
that
last
maybe
time?
next
Send
month,
that-
and
send that.
once you have the time.
Okay.
Okay.
when it's
Alright,
there.
so we'll put that on for next meeting. Oh,
That the environmental scientist.
Oh, yeah.
that we were talking to, would like to try and get her next month. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight. She's in California with the wildfires. She's just been out there doing air quality testing.
Oh, okay.
So she said she was really sorry, but she couldn't make it. But I would still really like to get her here when we can, as soon as we can.
Okay. Is she gonna, you gonna reach back out to her? in a
Yeah,
couple weeks or
Christy,
something, or
would
is
you
she
mind
gonna reach out?
reminding me to, like you did this time, to check
Sure.
in? I can't be trusted.
I would invite the environmental commission to come hear her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just wanna
Yeah,
make sure
a
that
lot of
she can
people.
come
yeah.
before we like orchestrate all the commissions and it's hard.
Yeah, and I think it would be good too if we had, whenever you do get a chance to talk to her, maybe have it, ask her about like, not the next meeting, but the following meeting. Just because I think it would be worth,
Right.
clearing the agenda. If she's gonna
Oh,
speak
right.
at length,
No, yes,
you know,
you're
and
saying.
not have, this kind of
That's
stuff.
fair, that's
Yeah.
fair.
So-
Yeah, okay. I hear you.
Hopefully Bill Brush can come next month, or
Oh, yeah, and we're gonna have to work him into probably a couple meetings, maybe. Just to,
I mean, did you talk about how he does, I mean, the last community forestry is kind of has this whole intro about how everything was redone and blah, 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 blah. It just, I know, I think I sent you Princeton's, which just seemed
Mhm.
really well written and, I don't know, I
Yeah.
just feel like ours really needs does he do that? How much do we do? on
well,
it?
that's what, I mean,
Yeah.
kind of new to me, new to all of us, so I think that's what we're gonna find out soon.
Hmm.
And that's why I'd like to have him here, maybe at a meeting. I mean, I'll be talking to him, but I'll have a meeting. If he comes, he might have some really good ideas for everybody to, you guys wanna do this, I'll be doing this, but, things that we can collect, some information or,
Okay.
things that we can start thinking about. So,
do you want me to send out the current one to everyone so they can review what it currently is?
yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Definitely
Your
needs some
homework.
pictures, it's like worst. It's like the ERI, it has these awful black and white pictures, right? It's just like nothing is. quite
What is it, every 5 years? So this was back in 2020, yeah, not too different. No, actually, when was
What
this?
is plan is
Ancient,
No,
It's
it's
like
2014 to 2019.
2014?
yeah,
yeah,
Why did
And
I
then-
think they were supposed to be done every 5 years?
they
they
are,
are,
are.
but it got readopted because of COVID.
Oh, because of
COVID,
that,
yeah.
that's what.
And then the forestry changed all the guidelines.
yeah, ours is really, it's really, I thought it was
Okay.
2011, it's 14?
14 to
14
19.
to 19, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's old.
I'm sorry, going back, Jill, the inventory, can we see what's in that park to determine how much carbon they capture
Mhm.
based on that? Okay.
Wait, it's at my credit card?
At McCarter Park, if
Yeah.
it talks about its approximate age or size or type, then I can just put it
Oh.
in the calculator.
It calculates for you.
It already calculates how much carbon it captures?
Do you know how much carbon the park has?
Don't tell.
I know, I don't.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's like so,
No, you should be able to get some facts.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
but if you could put that on the tree, like, I think people would be astounded to see how
Right.
much,
I take this much carbon out of the air,
right?
this much rainwater.
Be nice to me. Stop stamping all over my roots.
Get off my,
Little
you're standing on my
rats.
foot.
Well, I think also like, some people are afraid of the trees after the
Mhm.
baseball incident and the park, and even at McCarter Park. So like reminding people why those trees are really important.
And maybe the chances of getting hit by a tree versus other things happening or something, I don't know, maybe you don't want to
Maybe
mind
not
that.
We're talking about getting hit with anything. Leave that one out.
I'll put that in utero.
All right, anything else? For discussion next week or next month, right? If only.
Do we have a, like an action plan? Or a strategy or something? Didn't we do one of those and,
As a whole, like
Yeah.
in the commission?
yeah,
Well, we do at the end of every year, we, I'll present like a report
yeah,
of our accomplishments and what we're looking to do going forward, much like the, management plan, the education plan.
well, I only ask because the environmental commission at their last meeting, I mean, Sean Bailey's trying to put together this whole strategy and their plan and their list of actions they want to take, and like education is one of theirs that they really want to work on. And I was thinking, and he talks about strategic partners like the natural area, shade tree, and then we could work with them to do some educational events. I don't know, I thought it might be worth asking Sean. He's very, very organized, and he's really trying to get kind of a much more systematic thing in place. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting to.
Sounds awful. No, I'm just
No,
kidding. I don't know, I've been kind of using our agenda as an action plan or whatever, but I mean, we can kick it around as far as.
Well, I think like our management plan should be our action plan. That should be our guiding
Right,
plan.
Stemming from the inventory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, no, stemming from like the whole 5-year plan, like that's our
Oh, the
strategic.
community forestry
Yeah,
management,
that is our
right.
strategic plan. That should
Right.
be our guiding,
And it
our
hasn't.
guiding light, whatever.
Right.
And it's just not in a position, it's not it's not what it should be right now. But that is, in theory, going to be like a living, breathing document that we look to as where our decisions should be based and,
Sure.
Like our 5-year, 10-year, how much
Yeah.
canopy, yeah,
Right,
things like
like,
that.
so
Yeah.
that should all go into that and that should guide our. path or whatever.
I agree, yeah, I think it'll come through once we get pen and paper with Bill. I thought you meant on like a monthly basis, more of a. You're looking for the grand scale, which.
Yeah,
I
which
think-
is the
Which I think
split,
is, yeah,
I
yeah,
guess we just haven't really had one because the community forestry management plan has never been used, right? Has anybody used it in the last 10
5 years? No, probably
No.
not, but like, I think, we're kind of bound to having that, and I'm guessing that the green team is not. I mean,
The
it's good, environmental team, sorry.
Yeah.
They're not required to have that, probably, I mean,
Yeah.
this is our requirement, so we have to have that plan.
Yeah.
Right?
But we need a really
Yes.
usable document. That should be our focus, really make this something that we use constantly, right?
Yeah.
I don't,
Our
I
action
just don't
plan,
think it
that's-
really, nobody even knows what it really says now. I mean, you,
so,
no, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I guess like with any plan, like you have to have like measurable.
Right.
Goals.
Goals and
So like
options, sure.
that's.
Big checklist.
Mm.
All right, gonna move on to public comment, if there are any. So Brian,
No, not today.
all righty,
Mark Olson was
Any-
on, but he's not here anymore.
Oh, shoot, we could have asked him about the,
He did raise his hand before, but,
where'd he go?
he's gone, he disappeared.
He's
Twitter.
like, peace out, it's too late.
Twitter. All right,
Oh,
his loss.
well, we
Don't
can ask.
call him. What do you-
Yeah, I was just. But I thought you wanted to ask about the, if you could separate out the,
I don't think we should do that. I really
Yeah.
think we should own it.
I agree. I think in the spirit of just keeping it as simple and straightforward as possible. And, no gray area, I think something. That's our list and this way. There won't be any question what's on it. We know exactly what's. I think.
I think like it would be nice, something to look to, or if somebody that maybe has the talent of doing a website, creating a website, it wouldn't be a bad idea for the coalition of committees that are in Fairhaven that kind of are under this umbrella of, the environment, let's call it, to have a collective website where each commission or committee like owned a page.
Mhm.
So like the shade tree, the green team, the natural area, that could be a good way to
Share website.
collaborate. I mean, but that's not something, and I don't create websites, so I'm not doing that, but like.
Right.
They each have a page on
Full
the borough
disclosure.
website.
Yeah.
But it's,
And this is
But nobody
solely
is
for the
getting any
ordinance, so.
content put on it, so it's
Yeah.
just stale.
Yeah,
Right.
Nobody uses it.
I mean, I think the green team
I can't
has,
remember the last time anybody gave me stuff to. put
Yeah.
on it. So it's just all, but you're welcome to. I don't know how many people
Free
get
space.
directed to it, but.
yeah.
Alright, let's find out what we can do.
Like-
Change,
so there,
No,
what's,
I-
oh,
that's
there are
like-
pictures from.
yeah,
what, last
but I mean,
Wednesday?
even putting up a new link, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
I'm assuming we should. But, all right. Well, I think this brings this one to a close. Motion to adjourn. Seconded. Third and fourth.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Good to see you all.
Good evening. Take care, guys, out there in Zoom land.
The late school thing tomorrow.
Good night.
Be ready, 90
That's-
minutes.
This is really messing me up.